Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
BrainShare Business Mentors proudly presents BrainShare.us, the ultimate business education platform, delivering the proven systems, processes, tools, and knowledge that empower you to build the business of your dreams. With 13 high-powered courses encompassing over 240 lessons accessed online on your schedule. Running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. We've helped thousands of business owners gain the leadership, communication, and business skills needed to build the business of their dreams. We can help you. Choose your learning path. Scuba Squad is the premier membership program for today's business leaders with access to all BrainShare material and double our money-back guarantee. BrainShare Basics, the ultimate business framework course, a hard-hitting 13-week program to lay the necessary foundation to build the business of your dreams. Or take individual courses as you need them. Every course has dozens of lessons, with video, practical exercises, precise documentation, and the opportunity for direct feedback from a BrainShare mentor. All programs have our exclusive 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked, don't wait. Choose your path and start today.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. Doing business and life with a purpose. Serving others, yes, achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. Not the world, but in your world. Let's start there and see what the world changes. And then I want you to think about today, as you listen to this incredible guest, how will you serve today? And what impact will you create with that service today? And I want to thank my two sponsors, BrainShare.us, drive business success and sustainability with BrainShare Business Mentors, where your business flourishes and your vision comes to life. Check out the link in the show notes. And PitchDB.com. Be a guest on over 3 million podcasts, speak at over 11,000 conferences and radio shows and TV shows and newspaper articles, all kinds of platforms to build your thought leader platform with incredible opportunities to show who you really are. And we have a discount, so reach out to the podcast notes or reach out to me, and I'll tell you about the deal we have for PitchDB. With that being said, culture in business is something tied to a servant's heart. If you have a servant's heart in your business, you're going to be able to cultivate a culture of very much positivity. And my guest today does that and helps you do that, which will grow your business. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Steve. It is so great to be here this morning.
What's your definition of culture?
Oh, gosh. I mean, culture is really, it's the collective behavior of a group. Like that can be culture in family. It can be culture in friends, a group of friends. It's not just limited to business.
I love that, because you're right. People try to sell that, sell is the wrong word, but talk about life business balance. Doesn't happen. Right. Just walk in knowing it's not going to happen, but how do you handle it? And that's where you come in. How do you work with that? Because it's going to start from the top. All culture starts from the top, right?
It does. Absolutely. The person at the top, they're the ones who define what the culture is going to be. More than anything, though, they're the ones who enforce it. And they enforce it either with their actions or their non-participation. I was speaking to a group last week, and we were talking about accountability and what happens in an organization if there's a group of like mid-level managers that say, hey, you know what, we want to get better at holding each other accountable. We want to be a better organization that way. And yet then the leader, the very top level leader, is like, oh, well, I'm not into accountability. Then it's an absolute waste of time, and it's not gonna stick around. So it's 100% up to the top leader to define and lead the charge on the culture of an organization.
So the top, we start from the top. Now I get asked this a lot. Hey, I work 8 to 5 for Apple or Google, or whatever. How can I change the culture?
Oh, you change the culture by, I mean, I don't know who said it. Something about, being the change that you want to see. And so you can begin to infect culture. Here's the thing about where we work, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. So whatever's in the atmosphere, that determines what's going to grow. And so if you're putting out positivity, if you are surrounding within your little area what you think good culture should be, eventually, I mean, obviously in a massive corporation, it can be more challenging, but that's how grassroots efforts start. That's how things that, movements get started. It's one person. A fire gets started with one spark, with one match. And so if you're, no matter where you're at in an organization, you be the person in the culture and mirror the culture that you would like to see, as long as you believe that there's an opportunity for your actions to really make an impact. There are some companies, I've been at some companies where it doesn't matter what the lower level people do or how they're behaving. If there is a culture at the top that's, this is the way we've always done it and we're not going to change, then you have to kind of assess and say, well, then maybe it's time for me to take my positive culture or take my beliefs and go somewhere else where I can make an impact.
And that's a servant's heart when you release those people. It's not helping your company and you're not helping them. Nobody's benefiting. And I say this all the time on the show. You can say no and have a servant's heart and be conscious of that. And that's so
absolutely
right. Relieving that you can say, you know what, you're just not a fit. We've tried it for 6 months. You don't fit our culture. My coach Jill has told me that. And, I've had discussions or whatever way they communicate that. But again, a firing is not an end all. It's probably a beginning for both people, a new beginning somewhere else and with the company. With all this, there's skills involved. To develop a culture, there's skills. There's hard skills, soft skills. Define the difference. I know a lot of people that don't know the difference.
The hard skills, that's the tactical stuff. I'm doing interviews right now for a company that I'm helping with some recruiting. And the hard skills in that is, hey, tell me, how would you rate your proficiency in QuickBooks? Those are the hard skills. How do you do in sales? But the soft skills, those people skills. How do you do in situations when you're working with people whose personality are very different from yours? The soft skills are what makes us human. It's bringing the humanity back into the workplace. For so long, there was a focus on just hard skills, and I don't know if there were people who were like getting prepared for AI and for more automation. And so they're like, you know what, we're just going to focus on the hard skills. We're going to have to focus on people. Obviously, that has not been successful. So now you can see that the pendulum is swinging towards the other side, where we're recognizing that these are people that we're dealing with. There's a big movement that's talking about bringing human back into human resources, because every one of the people in your business, they're people. They have stuff going on at home. They have stuff going on in their lives. They come to work. They do not leave their personal life at the door. It comes with them. It affects the work that they're doing. And so recognizing the soft skills of empathy, the soft skills of compassion, of looking at people as people and treating them as people, that's really important for us to bring back into the business world.
Great distinction. So we can measure hard skills. You're working in QuickBooks. Did you get the 4 projects done? Okay, yes, That's measure. Only got 2 of the 4. What happened? So there's measurables there. But how do you measure soft skills?
Yeah, that's the big question. And I think that that's been the big challenge for companies is they haven't figured out how to measure those soft skills. They look at it and they go, oh, it's so woo-woo. Yes, it is 100% woo-woo. and part of the measurement actually is, how do you feel? And that is a legitimate measurable. How do you feel when you come to work? Is this a place where you feel supported, where you feel encouraged? Or is this a place where you come and you feel defeated and frustrated and unfulfilled? Those are our measurables that we can't just toss aside. But the other thing is this, everybody knows that the saying about how people don't leave companies, they leave managers. That's because of soft skills. I mean, that goes a lot to how people are interacting and the behaviors that are being taking place in between each other. So one of the ways that you can measure soft skills and the success of soft skills and the development of that is, what is turnover looking like? How frequently are people calling out? How frequently are people taking sick time, taking vacation time? Those are some measurables that help you determine how successful your company is in soft skills. The other piece of soft skills is recognizing that, when soft skills are operating at a high level, then people are operating at a high level. And so tracking the efficiency and the effectiveness of your operations. Sometimes I wish that companies would actually have a line item for turnover. I've been learning, especially in the last few months, that they don't. They just take that and lump it into salary. But if you could have a line item for turnover, have a line item or a measurable somewhere in your dashboard of call outs, even measurables like conflict. How often is there conflict happening in the workplace? Is HR seeing fewer people coming to them and complaining about a coworker or a manager? Those are all measurables. It's out of the box, but it's still measurable.
A part of the ROI too is people leaving sick, you're not getting productivity. The bottom line's affected, which is every business has to worry about that. I don't care. Money is part of this, a big part of it. But all these culture and all these different things are adding to that, which is so big. So when it comes to culture, how does leadership get involved?
First of all, they have to define what the culture is that they really want, and not what's popular, not necessarily copying what they've heard other people are doing, because part of what defines culture and what allows culture to be successful or a failure is the people involved. And so they have to come together and say, what is the culture that we want this to be? And like, it is okay to say that we're a culture that focuses on efficiency. Like, you don't have to just talk about positive things all the time. We're a culture that reduces errors. We're a culture that reduces customer service failures, like all of those things. But it's up to the leaders to say, this is what we want the culture to be. And this is how we're going to measure it. These are the stories that should be told in order for us to know that we really are having the culture that we expect.
And that leads to the bigger view, the over 90,000 square foot view, or whatever, 30,000 foot view, is the business's why or purpose. One, is that important? And two, do you help develop that with companies?
Yeah, I do. I love helping companies figure out their why. When Simon Sinek came out with that book, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Everybody should read this book, because we are all created with a purpose. We all have a why, and companies do too, because they started with a belief in mind that they were going to impact the world in this way. Now, as time has gone on, they might have lost that. They might have forgotten that. And so to be able to sit down and talk about, like, what is your vision? What is your mission? And those are two very different things. Vision is talking about the future. It's a picture of the destination of where you're going. And so you might have lost that. It's easy, especially like with small business owners. They got into the business, they started their company because they loved the work that the company was about. And as it's grown, they've gotten pushed up in their position. And so they've kind of lost sight of their why and why are we even doing this? And that gets felt within the organization. Everybody's like, so what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Where are we headed? And so for leaders to be able to say, this is where we're headed. This is our big picture. This is our bold and audacious vision of where we're headed and the impact that we want to make in the world. And your mission statement and your mission is about how you do it specifically. What makes you unique? When I'm doing this exercise with companies, the 3 questions that a mission statement should answer is, who are the people that we want to serve? What are their needs? And how can we uniquely meet those needs? And how can we partner with others in our community to also meet those needs? And from there, that starts to determine what your mission is. So yeah, I love doing those exercises.
I can tell, and I love the passion. I love what you said. It brings to mind Bamba socks. Excuse me. They give a pair of socks to a homeless for every pair of socks they sell. What a purpose. And people hear that, and all the successful companies have something. It doesn't, I think philanthropy is a great way of doing that, but whatever that might be, all the successful ones have that. And people know about it. It's not tucked in the corner like 100 employees, only 10 employees know, right? Your culture training, everybody knows the purpose, from the janitor all the way up to the president of the company, right?
Yeah.
So why do you want to help and serve?
Means that it shouldn't be super complicated.
Yeah. Why do you want to help and serve so many people? Yeah.
Oh man.
This is your purpose now.
You're gonna make me cry. Yeah. For years I've known that my purpose is to work with people that they can overcome obstacles to be all that they're purposed to be, to live their life on purpose. I know what it is like to feel disheartened and unfulfilled doing things in life that I could do and I was good at, but it wasn't why I was here on earth. And so to know that I can work with people and help them discover success and significance rather than being stuck in a cycle of that hopelessness and kind of the helplessness, to be poised for success, I can do that all day long. That feeds every ounce of my being. When it comes to businesses, the people that I work with, and it's not because necessarily the business that they're in, it tends to be the people that I attract. They are amazing people who have good hearts and who sometimes just get stuck. They get stuck in overwhelm. They get stuck in processes. They get stuck in, this is how we've always done it. And so to be able to come in and say, let's take all of that and let's put it aside for a second and let's think about what could be. One of my favorite questions to ask when I'm doing just one-on-one coaching is, if money wasn't an issue and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? And for some people, they say, oh, exactly what I'm doing. And other people, you can just see, like, it is almost this physical transformation as they start talking about what they would do. And then to be able to put those steps in place to say, well, why not go there? Why not start taking those steps to get there? It's the same thing with business owners and in the business world. If you were starting your business fresh, how would you do it differently than what you're doing now? If you knew that you could make the impact that you want to make, asking some of those questions and then being able to say, well, why not start doing that now? You don't have to wait to take action. You don't people I think what people are afraid of is if they hire a coach, they hire a consultant, they're going to have to do this dramatic change.
Mm.
And some consultants are that way. Me, I come in and it's like, okay, let's look at what you have, and then let's look at where you want to be. And let's take what you have to start getting you on the path to where you want to be. And then let's keep moving forward and taking that momentum. You do not have to start from scratch. Like if you want to have your dream team and you already have staff and you're like, I'm not really fans of the staff that I have, let's figure out why, and let's figure out if they're coachable, and let's figure out what we can do to make those changes to create the dream team without having to hire everybody. It may mean that you're changing up some roles. It may mean that we're reconfiguring some things on the org chart, but that is the whole purpose of what a coach and a consultant does, is they come in and they do this with you so that you're not having to do this all by yourself and figure it out all by yourself, because that's where people get lost.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. It's really true. It's simple, but it's hard. It's simple and hard, simple and hard. Simple to take action, to hard to, you got to keep practicing it. Now, businesses learned during COVID that change is inevitable. And COVID's not the only time. 2008, there's so many opportunities where businesses had to pivot or change. What is the problem, and how does a business get away from doing the same thing over and over again? There's that phrase that you're insane, I think, if you do or you get the same result. You know the phrase.
You do the same thing and expect different results.
Yes, thank you. So how's that hurt a business, and how do you help a business?
Oh man, you cannot wish your way into different results. Different results require different actions. If you want something different, you have to do something different. The challenge that I'm seeing in companies is a couple of things. For one, especially coming out of COVID, that was such an unsettling time. We were forced to do things that, and I'm not saying that to be political at all. That just was the nature. Everybody had to start working from home. And so all these adjustments had to be made. And there was such a feeling of a loss of control and uncertainty. And so I think to some degree, people are coming back and like, oh, can't we just be settled? It took us a while. It took us a while to open businesses up. And then, like, I live in Portland, Oregon. So it was, today we're open, tomorrow we're not. And so just that constant uncertainty. And so people were just like, I just need to feel settled again and feel secure in being settled again. The other thing is we live in a microwave society. I'm going to try something new. And if it doesn't give me immediate results, then it was stupid and worthless, and I'm going to move on to something else. I was talking with somebody who is potentially going to be a client, and their company just started a program for some leadership development. And it is a 2-year program. It's a 2-year investment that they're making in people. And I applauded them because they recognize the fact that change takes time. When you make a change, there's the initial change, and then you see how that works and how things turn out, and then you have to adjust from there. And so it takes a while for things to get into place after change happens. Results don't happen overnight. We see this if we're making changes with our bodies, with working out. The sun is out again in the Pacific Northwest. Everybody's out walking again. And it's like, oh, I'm back out walking, and I'm walking 10,000 steps a day in the sun. When am I going to lose that 15 pounds? Well, maybe in a few months, you might be able to look back on that. So then a company has to look at, and people have to look at, when they're tracking the progress of change, those small incremental pieces of success.
Get better 1% every day. That's what I tell people. Don't have to get better every, do 100% in a week. You do it, start today. It's April 16, 2024. There's 8 months left, 7 months. That's a 200% increase. Are you going to grow or not? Just think about that. It's a great tip to keep in mind. And it keeps down the downsides because you're growing and compounding your personal development. You're growing as a business. So we run out of time. This has been so fast, so wonderful.
Yes.
How can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me either on LinkedIn. I'm very much hang out there, or they can go to linkconsulting.info. I also want to do a couple things. I have a couple of free giveaways for your listeners.
Great.
I wrote a small ebook, and it's called Confident Leadership: How to Be a Confident Leader of a Committed Team Providing Stellar Service. I joked the other day that the title of the book is probably longer than the book, but it is a free giveaway that I have. If you
Great.
go to the website, up at the top, it says Confident Leadership. Click on that and you get that for free. And then I want to invite your listeners. I host a free lunch and learn for leaders every Thursday at noon Pacific time. It's on Zoom. It's growing to be an amazing community where people are coming together. We talk. I always have a topic, but sometimes somebody will open up with a question, and then we'll have that discussion on a leadership issue that maybe somebody is dealing with right then and there. It's very interactive, but just for leaders and those who want to grow in their leadership.
Well, thank you for the free gifts, and thank you for being such an incredible guest.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm going to change my culture in my company. That's changing me, which is entrepreneurs. I make a joke of that, but it's absolutely true. You are a business. If you're an entrepreneur, your culture is yourself, your purpose yourself, your why. So it fits everybody, whether you're a $100 million company or an entrepreneur making $250,000 a year. It all fits. And reach out to Jill if you have any questions. And, take a look at this podcast. She gave you some incredible tips for free. Use the forward and the back buttons on your podcast platform or YouTube and listen to them over and over again to inspire you, to motivate you, and to educate you. That's the whole goal. And she did that today. I'm so glad she did. Don't forget my TV show every Friday. Together We Serve. It's 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget about your swag. Doing business with a servant's heart. I want that message out to everybody. So put it on your head, put it on your shoulders, put it on your shirts, wherever. I have those. There's a link in the chat or in the show notes to get that. I feel like I'm on a Zoom. I keep talking about chat. And the last but not least thing is me and Jill, thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.